It is the day after my surgery, and I wanted to share about how it went before I forget all the details. So my surgery was the first in the morning. We got to the hospital at 5:30 for a 7:30 surgery in the morning, and I kind of got there later than most people, I think, who were starting their surgery at that time. During the check-in process, like, I was one of the last ones to go into like the pre-op rooms, and I had to do a pee sample, and then they had to do a blood draw to confirm blood type, and then I also had to wipe my body down with those chlorhexidine wipes. I almost used them in the morning, so I showered with the special soap, I forget what it's called, at like maybe like 11 p.m. and they said, like, because my appointment is so early that I really only need to shower at night and then should be good to go, or could use the cloths, the cleansing cloths before coming to the hospital. But I was up at like 4, which was a little bit earlier than I needed to be up. So I realized I was kind of sweating in my sleep. So I decided to shower again with the special soap. But if I had to use the cloths instead, it says to rub the area vigorously for 3 to 4 minutes. And so I was like really using the cloths for 3 to 4 minutes on the areas, like especially my chest area. I used one cloth for every boob, and just to make sure like it was there really well. And then also started proceeding to do the rest of my body, but then they kept checking in on me and seeing if I was done. So I did my stomach probably for 3 minutes, my arms and underarms for 3 minutes, and then for my legs, I was just like, okay, forget it. I'll just do like both legs in like 1 minute so that I could get done, because most likely they're not going there anyway. So, and back and butt. So yeah, those areas, I was like, okay, I'll just rush through those. Although I tried to do more of my back, like closer to my chest area a little bit more. They couldn't get the IV in the first try, so the breast surgeon came in to get me marked up, and then I had to get the IV in after that. I mentioned that I was looking for like high profile, I guess as big of a size as I could go, direct to implant, because that was the plan. I saw like on Facebook groups that like people were warning against like the hamburger look or just like a more flattened look, so moderate or high profile is like what to ask for, so that's what I did ask for. My husband luckily was able to join me in the pre-op room for a few minutes before I got wheeled out to the operating room. And I did get asked if I get nauseous with anesthesia, and the only other time that I remember having it was for my breast abscess from mastitis from breastfeeding, and I don't recall getting nauseous, so I said no to that, unfortunately. But I should have said yes, because I got really nauseous after waking up from anesthesia. So yeah, because of that, they gave me medication that made me super drowsy. So I was dizzy for a few hours after waking up from surgery, and then also like super drowsy, like the drowsiest I've ever felt. Like I was just like fighting falling asleep, but ended up falling asleep anyway. And like even if people were talking to me, all I wanted to do was just like sleep. They kind of were like, either you could stay overnight, but I have to stay overnight in that like tiny little recovery space because they didn't have extra rooms, or I could go home. So it just kind of felt like, okay, you should go home. But I was just so drowsy. It was so weird. Practically falling asleep even as my husband was trying to put my clothes on. So it was really hard. And then I was just worried I was going to fall asleep like in the wheelchair going to the car. I was just like trying my hardest to stay awake. It was just a bizarre feeling that I never felt before. And I was just hoping that like I was drowsy enough to embrace the hour-long car ride, because in the recovery room it felt like every movement I was nauseous and gagging a lot. So I was hoping that the car ride would not be like that, and had my eyes closed for most of the car ride. I was like semi-awake, not as asleep or drowsy as I was when I was in the recovery room. So I wouldn't say I was asleep the whole time. I definitely felt like some of the traffic and stuff like that. But yeah, finally we got home, and then I was just like, okay, I have 4 flights of stairs to go up. That is where our bedroom is. So I was pretty nervous about trying to get upstairs, but I was like, okay, I just have to keep doing this or I just have to just go up the stairs. Then it'll all be over, basically. So I just need to get him to this recliner, and then I'll be good. Because I was just like drowsy and nauseous, like a mix of both a little bit coming up the stairs. But thankfully I didn't have to gag on the way up. So really just more drowsy and just a little dizzy. So yeah, I finally made it up and then kind of rested. I might have slept for like an hour and then I had to pee. So last night it was like a lot of peeing out all the fluids that I got through the IV. It was so weird. I was like, why do I have so much pee? I was peeing every 2 hours because I kind of forgot that they were keeping me hydrated through the IV. So, because I was like, I don't remember drinking this much water. It was kind of like a whole process to go pee. So my husband had to help me get up out of the recliner. I don't know if it was really necessary, but I just heard that, I don't know, like with people using wedge pills and stuff like that, I wasn't sure of like how much to use my abs for that movement. And then I also had him like put on and take off all the blankets that I had on me. So I had like 2 big throw blankets on me, so just like less lifting for me to do. And then we'd walk together slowly to the toilet, and then he'd help me sit down, like help lower me under the toilet, and then I'd pee. I was able to wipe myself, and then, oh yeah, he'd help take off my bottoms and panties. And then I would sit down, and then he'd help me stand back up and then put my panties and pants back on and then flush the toilet for me. So it was one less movement for me to do. And then we'd walk slowly together back to the recliner chair. And then my recliner has like this gap between the footrest and the chair. And we have like a lumbar support pillow kind of that came with the chair. So it felt like that was a nice place to put it to remove the gap between my thighs and my feet. So it was just a little bit more comfortable sleeping. And then he would put the blankets back on me as I reclined back. So that was kind of like our whole process throughout the night. I woke up every 2 hours. I think I had to wake him up like 4 times to pee. And I did not take Tylenol when I was supposed to. So I think last time I took Tylenol was maybe like 9 p.m. And then I was supposed to take it every 8 hours, but I ended up taking it at like 8 a.m. because I thought it was 12 hours, but it ended up being every 8. So that's when I started feeling a little bit more pain, maybe like in the late afternoon today. I also didn't balance it with ibuprofen because I hadn't eaten anything yesterday. So I finally ate some porridge around 8 a.m. Just a little bit, a quarter to a half a cup of porridge, and then had ibuprofen with my lunch. So finally started adding in ibuprofen into the mix of medications. And then I also have a 1-day antibiotic. And then I had my first post-op appointment through video this morning and just went over some things. Oh, and then my husband emptied my drains at 4 a.m. So one of the times I woke up to pee was 4 a.m. Our toddler usually wakes up around 5:30 to 6:30. So I felt like when we were up at 4, it was like a good time to empty the drains so he wouldn't have to worry about doing it like when my toddler was awake. But I get really queasy when it comes to blood, and like I didn't really watch them do it yesterday in the recovery room because I was so drowsy. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep while the nurse was showing him how to do it, so I had no idea like what it was like. So I got really queasy looking at all the blood, and he was doing it really slowly and carefully. And he was doing it while I was standing at 4 a.m. in the bathroom. And I can feel myself, like it was dead quiet. I had nothing on, nothing playing. And so all my attention was focused on the blood and what he was doing. And I started getting queasy, and I told him I had to sit on the floor because I needed to balance. I could feel myself like about to faint from the blood. And it's not that big of a deal. Or I get like a panic attack kind of, because I don't know like what's happening or what it's supposed to be like. So I panic and then I faint So yeah, I said I was gonna go to the recliner for the second drain to be emptied, and then I fainted on the way to the recliner chair, so I fainted on the floor slowly. He was holding on to me, but yeah, definitely took it easy, and then he emptied the second drain while I was sitting down, and then I put a video on so I could focus on the video instead. But yeah, so that was our first drain emptying. It wasn't too bad. I think after like 10 hours, it was like in the 30s. We actually have not emptied it since 4 a.m. because it's pretty low. I also have 2 drains instead of 4 that I was expecting, so that was a nice surprise. And from what my husband said, like when I had a C-section for our kid, it's childbirth, my doctor said I wasn't losing a lot of blood or didn't lose a lot of blood, so surprisingly. So maybe that's just kind of how my body is. So yeah, the drains haven't been too full yet, so that's why we haven't emptied it. So we'll probably empty it sometime soon, and then once more like later tonight. I would say like pain right now, it is more uncomfortable like on the sides of my body where the drains are coming out, so that's like maybe like a 3 to a 4, but other than that it's pretty manageable. Like that's not bad. I was expecting a lot worse, so I'm just hoping it doesn't get any worse. I'm hoping it gets better from here on out. I've just kind of been like every 2 hours like taking naps basically all day and watching shows a little bit while I'm awake, or movies. Watch The Notebook in the middle of watching The Holiday right now. Listened to Friends last night. I also did some of the shoulder exercises that I was supposed to start, so did one set of those. I'm supposed to do 2 sets a day. Yeah, just trying to take it easy. Answer a bunch of texts. A lot of people checked in, which was nice. My coworkers sent me flowers, so we had to go get it from the front door, and then he brought it up to show me, and then he went back downstairs to the kitchen to cut the stems and put it in a vase and then bring it back up for me, and then like multiple trips to get me like water or food up and down the stairs. So it's just like a lot of back and forth up and down the stairs that he's had to do today that I've really appreciated. Luckily I can now go to the bathroom on my own pretty much, so I started doing that maybe like around noon or late morning. So that's like one less thing he has to help me with, and hopefully he'll get better sleep tonight. But yeah, I was basically more drowsy and lightheaded or light dizziness like for most of today, just getting out all the meds from my system, so I'm trying to drain it out. Yeah, I think I finished one full 40 ounce plus 12, so at least 50 ounces of water today. So I'm still peeing like every 2 hours almost, but yeah, it's just like eat, drink, go to the bathroom, then stay awake for a little bit and then rest, and that's pretty much what it's been like on repeat all day. Now I even feel a little bit more energy, and I was like, oh, maybe I should go for a walk, but I'll hold off, I think, a little bit longer. Kurt was telling me what the doctor said. He said that the reconstruction surgeon or plastic surgeon said that she gave me a little bit more volume than we discussed. So I don't know, Kurt saw them open up my bra in the recovery room yesterday really briefly, just to show me like, or just to show him like what it looked like, and he saw like what it looked like, and he said it does look a little bigger, so he thinks I'm going to be happy with what it looks like. He said maybe there's a little rippling at the top. That reminds me, I should also wash the bras that I'm gonna start wearing, because I wasn't sure whether I needed to wash more compression bras or like looser bras, and I think I'm gonna go with the smaller sizes. So although I'm gonna keep this surgical bra on for as long as possible, I think. They said I can shower on Sunday, so that's like 3 days post-op. I don't know if I'll want to shower with drains in. It just sounds so hard, so we'll see. I don't want to like check out my boobs because I don't want to like undo the whole bra and everything and all the pads and then try to put it back in the right place. So yeah, I'm just not gonna do that for a little while, and I'm okay not seeing them. Yeah, it's really just the poking out of the drains and like where they're at, so the pillow is helpful so I don't put as much pressure on them and stuff. Yeah.